Welcome back. A few frosts are going to come in the next few days, and that effectively ends the gardening season in the Florida Panhandle and in lower Alabama, where we're located. So today it's time to kind of go through and figure out what is going to freeze, what we can harvest now, what we can bring in, and then we'll tally it up and we'll see how we've done on yields this year. And it's going to be kind of exciting because this has been an interesting and productive year. Before I can go and harvest stuff, I've actually got to plant some stuff. It is sugarcane planting season, and this whole area right here has got to be planted. We need to do this before the frost destroys the canes, and so you lay them to rest now in November in all these beautiful trenches here, and they'll sleep through the winter and into the spring, and then they come up, and then you get sugarcane. And the importance of planting sugarcane is now acute because I got this. My friend James found this for me. This is a cane mill patent 1877, made in Montgomery, Alabama, by D.M. Snow and Company. It is called a Kentucky cane mill, and you can see it's got the great big grinding wheels on the inside. It takes a lot of energy to grind cane, a lot of torque to crush the juice out of those fibers. It's not the sort of thing you can just do in a home juicer. And if we're going to make our own cane syrup and hopefully make our own sugar, I've got to plant a lot of cane. So this bed here I made with the bobcat, put the forklift tines on it, and I crisscrossed it back and forth to tear the grass up. Then I used the teeth on the bucket attachment and raked it, and then I went back and I set the forklift tines at about 3 feet apart and dug these trenches with them. Not the appropriate use, but hey, we don't have a disker, we don't have a tiller attachment or any of that kind of stuff, so we make do with what we have. It's better than digging these by hand like I've done in all previous years. We have to take the persimmons in. Some people say that actually having them freeze a little bit makes them taste better, but I'd rather just bring them in because I know they're fine right now and I don't trust it. So got a lot of persimmons. This is a 3-year-old since we planted it tree. It was probably 2 years old in the pot. And we've already picked half of the persimmons off of it. All right, want to see if you can yank it? Nice, nice. I don't see that any of those broke. Woohoo! You see, sometimes they get really woody when they're up tight. It's a little bit. And then these cuttings go in the greenhouse. Not much to look at there. Maybe it's only a 1 year. You need like 3 more months and some 10-10-10.
Yeah.
I planted this Dioscorea alata, the greater yam, beneath this big old cedar tree. And it seems to like being here. It's climbed way up into the branches, and I would not be surprised if the root is huge now because it was a first year root that I had done. But these are the bulbils. If you're wondering which yam you have, if you see an air potato growing in your yard, there's a good one and there's a bad one. And the bad one is generally D. bulbifera. And I say generally because there are cultivated versions of D. bulbifera, but you're not likely to ever find them in the wild. There are good edible types, but the ones you find in the wild are not safe to eat. But if they look like this, these weird brown, misshapen bulbils, these can be planted to start new Dioscorea alata, which is a very good edible. It's a lot like a giant potato. So I found the base of it. It's down here in these very, very thorny wild blackberries. So if I come down here and look for it, there's going to be a great big tuber beneath the ground. But I'm going to leave it and let it be a mama tuber and just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I don't know how big it is now, but, well, it's over to here. It's pretty big. You can see, get to the top of it. There's a good amount of tuber there. That goes down here too. So you can get an idea, the actual tuber is right in this area. So it's probably a 5-10 pound tuber. And it'll grow back an even bigger vine next year and make more bulbils for us. If you want to know the difference, again, these guys are brown and misshapen. The ones that you're going to find from bulbifera are usually pretty close to round or somewhat oval. They often have a lighter color, but they have a very nice shape to them. They look like nice, polished, rounded asteroid shapes instead of these weird, odd, different, distorted shapes. Yeah, there's a pretty obvious difference between them when you see them in the wild. Also, these guys come more to a point, a little bit more like an arrowhead, a little bit more like an arrowhead shape, whereas the bulbifera has a great big wide heart shape to it. A little different, but it's easy to tell at this time of year when you see these bulbils. This is alata. This is a black sugarcane variety that I'm trying to save. Grew it for the first time this year from a cutting out here that I stuck in the ground, and we will plant these pieces in the greenhouse to make sure we have a lot more of it next year. It's a little different. We'll see what it tastes like and how chewy it is. Some are chewing canes, some are crystal canes. That's a chewy cane. I think that's a little more chewy. Let's give it a good taste test. This is a chewing cane. It's more tender. The more commercial sugar types tend to have very, very hard fibers, very high sugar content. But this, the fibers are chewable. Easy to crush between your teeth so you can enjoy them. It's good. One thing I gotta remind you guys before I forget, my sister Linda says that you should click the bell and like and subscribe, and that I should say this in every one of my videos. So I'm doing this for my sister. So like and subscribe. Thought there was a sweet potato in there. It's hiding. There we go. It's not enough for sweet potato pie. One little sweet potato. What I really want is this cassava. Here we go. This is a little different variety than the other one. And I think this one's 2 years old, so it should give us a good root. I like to try to work them a little bit. The nice thing about having mostly sandy soil. Let's see what we got. Oh man, look at that. That one's gonna be worth pulling. Holy moly. So that's the way cassava is supposed to look. That's the way it's supposed to look when it's got a long enough growth on it. And this one didn't freeze over here in between the mulberries, so it was totally worth it. Those are tender. Oh, so nice. So nice. Wow. Oh, that's tender too. Isn't that big one? This is fantastic. I'm gonna have to remember this variety. Beautiful. Now, if I had pigs, the rest of this could go to them. But I don't. Looking good. That's extremely satisfying. It'd be interesting to see how many pounds it is off of just one. And I guess probably 30 pounds. That's the way they're supposed to look in the tropics, but it took 2 years to do that here. But this variety stayed tender, which some of my other varieties have gotten harder. I wish I knew what the name of it was. Sorry guys, can't tell you. I'm not that organized. It's probably set on photo. Now here in the grocery rows, I am beneath this mulberry tree. We just pulled the cassava from right there, but there is sweet potato vines. There are sweet potato vines right here. Our sweet potatoes have not done all that great this year, so let's have some hope that they're okay. There's one. I think we got too much shade. They acted as a good ground cover, but they didn't necessarily give us a lot of root out of the grocery rows this year. I think we only got 100 and something pounds. And last year, I think it was 200 and something. Sometimes I miss them too. The vines will go here and there, and they'll get kind of deep, and I'll think that I got all the potatoes, but I actually didn't. So there we go. There's 2 potatoes we wouldn't have had otherwise if I hadn't have stuck a slip in the ground over here in the shade this spring. I'll take them. There's any more in here or not? There we go. There's some. Ooh, it's a big one. Either that or the ground's just hard. It's a moderate one. Let's see what we have here. Are these roots going? Did I get anything? It's nothing but vines forever. That's what it looks like. Well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. One big weird white one. This is Dioscorea pentaphylla, which I got from Derek Clausen, who has a nursery on Etsy. And I planted these 2 years ago. I have no idea what a Dioscorea pentaphylla root looks like, but these overwintered just fine in our area. It is a rare edible yam, at least rare inside the United States. And it was quite vigorous and created a lot of bulbils for us this year. So we're going to take a look and see what this root looks like. Dioscorea pentaphylla, the 5-leaf yam. Ooh, there's a lot of root. There we go. That's loosening up. There's my mama plant. Let's see how big it is. That is all edible. Looks to me rather like Dioscorea alata. Pretty tender. We broke the bottom just putting it down. Please go to my GoFundMe so you can get me a new hose. The price of hoses now is ridiculous. I have no end on this hose. We're suffering. We have no end. Please send help. No end on this hose, and it got run over by some careless person. Even a donation of only $190 could buy a new hose and a nozzle for a gardener in need. Let's flip it over. Look at that. Wow. That is an extremely weird root. It's weirder looking than alata is. Dioscorea pentaphylla. Write that down, kids. That is a weird yam. Guess we're gonna have to take a piece and eat it. You're still getting pumpkins out here. It's best if you can keep the stems on, so you should cut them off instead of try to break them off the vine. But then I would have to find my nippers, and I don't have them right now. Somebody else does. Somewhere in the darkness. Got a lot of loofahs this year. They're not going to be ruined by being frozen, I don't think, but I'm just picking them all and sticking them inside anyways, since we're already out here. The green ones should dry out on the porch and be fine. These dry ones are about ready. Almost totally dry. These are Jamaican yellow yam. I dug one of them the other day. It wasn't very big, so I think I'm gonna just leave them in the ground to grow another year. The loofah got in a fight with this variety of bulbifera, which I got from Grower Jim in Orlando. This is another edible bulbifera variety. It looks a little bit different from my other one. It's more kind of pale and bumpy. It's made some bigger ones, but I've already harvested all those. I'm just trying to catch the last ones in case they freeze. We're a little out of their range here. Get a few little bitty eggplants. I decided to come back after all the heat and the drought and make a few. That's kind of nice. We'll make a tiny little fried eggplant dish. You can pick it. It's a figgy. Figgy wiggy wiggy. There's some tomatoes in there. That's weird. This is an edible Dioscorea bulbifera variety. This is a purple variety. And my son Ezekiel just found back here, hiding underneath. I was afraid that this thing was not going to produce anything. It just looked like a regular big old yam, but I didn't see any air potatoes on it. But here we've got these big, massive, like potato size air potatoes. Really, really good ones. This is a better shape than the other ones too. Look at how big that is. There is a large Dioscorea alata in here. This is not supposed to be here, so I'm going to pull it out. Oh, not yet. Once again, your weekly reminder that yams are not sweet potatoes. And we have these ants in here, so be careful. There's an ant nest under there. Those are the bad guys. Tuk-tuk ants, as they call them. In Grenada. Otomachus, the trapjaw ant, which is a big problem in here. They're probably doing pest control, but they sting like wasps. They're very, very unpleasant. And they like to get into all my grocery rows because they live in organic matter. Watch out, there's one right there. And they seem to have dug a nest directly beneath this yam. There we go. Look, there's the nest, look.
I think you cracked it.
I think it's just subsoil. I don't think I cracked it. I think that's actually the fresh root down there. That's not even a break. Just be careful. Huh?
I think it's a break.
Do you think it's a break?
Feel it.
No, I don't think so. Ooh, there's a lot of ants. It's a good thing they're slow today. And I reckon that's probably a 15-pound yam. You can see that these guys look a little different than those Dioscorea pentaphylla. They do have multiple lobes, but they're not quite so many as on the bottom of that other one. This one was digging down into the clay subsoil, or the semi-clay subsoil. See some of the little more orangey down here. It's really good to get the ants off of this. Okay, so I'll show you something here. This right here, this is last year's yam. That piece. That's the part that grew last year, and it was probably a couple of pounds. And it's completely shriveled away and eaten to make the new yam. This is all the new yam. So if you have this old yam in the ground, you just leave it, it'll get digested. All the juice has been sucked out of it, and it's converted into a new and bigger yam. So every year, like this yam would get eaten the next year, and it would continue to expand. Pretty cool. Old yam, new yam. Best survival crop for this area. These should get bigger, but they're not going to because the frost is going to knock them out. These really didn't get rolling until pretty late in the season. So we'll get what we can. They still taste good if they're small. They just are only about half the size that they should be. We've got bulbifera at the top of this peach tree. Bulbifera bulbils. Guess I'll try to shake them down. Ow. There's a purple ube yam back here. I didn't realize that the alata that were coming off of this trellis were actually purple. That means that the bulbils that we harvested earlier should be purple unless they were from the white one that we just dug that jumped the aisle. So who knows? If you nick the bulbils, you can see if they're purple or not. It's all the way down here. See that? It extends this way as well. I didn't know this was here. I thought it was all yams coming from the other side. I didn't realize that there was a massive ube in here. I wonder if it is. Is it purple? It is. It's purple inside. Wow. That's a lot of ube. That is beautiful. Look at that. Nice shape on this side one too. That could be separately sold if you were going to sell it at market. This is a very good shape. Let's see the bottom of it. Yeah, very easy to work with a yam like this. Not a lot of angles like that white one that we dug. Here. 15, 16, 16. Two-year-old Dioscorea pentaphylla. Started from a tiny oval. 14 pounds. You are on the dot.
11.
11. Ube. Where did I put my ube? Ube. Okay. It's 11 pounds. Current market, that's a $55 yam. Give me all of the Dioscorea bulbifera. Is that all of them?
Yeah.
That is 11 pounds of bulbifera. Dioscorea alata. 11 more pounds from those various ones. $18. $19. And 19 again. £6. $10. Now we'll weigh that giant cassava, see what we got. 31 pounds, and that's not even all of it yet. All right, so 31 on the first part of that cassava. It's not quite as much left now, but all still from the same plant. And 16 more pounds, which gives us 47 pounds on one cassava.
Wow.
Six. And 2 more pounds. And now, after all this harvesting, I'm back at it at the sugarcane. This is really the time of year that everything comes together, and it's exciting to see. Just, I mean, 2,500 pounds. At the beginning of the year, we didn't have that. We started with 0, and now 2,500 pounds of produce. So you guys have got to see a lot of that all the way through the year, which has been fun, I'm sure, in little glimpses. But man, you know, you just go out in that messy garden and you start pulling stuff and you realize how much was planted in the spring, and there's still a lot out there. I haven't even pulled the ube yam. I pulled one of the ube. I have 120 foot of ube yam planted out there. I pulled one of them and it was a couple of pounds. So there's a lot more. But for now, I'm gonna get back to this sugarcane bed because I gotta get it planted before the freeze. Thanks for joining me today. If you wanna come join our private community and see all the exclusive videos and stuff, I'll put a link to that below. That is my school community, The Survival Gardener, and that's where I have the food forest course and all kinds of other videos, and I answer questions directly. It's a nice, active social media community with a whole classroom full of videos. So maybe I'll see you over there. Thanks for joining us through this year as well. And I hope that you have a wonderful week and had a very happy Thanksgiving. Catch you next time. And until then, may your thumbs always be green.